Congratulations to
Robyn.
Congratulations,
guys.
New Zealand's national champion.
Thanks, guys.
David, number 2.
David.
Well done. So, Robyn, you used some pretty unusual, an unusual runner.
Yeah, I was going Chaos Theory.
Chaos Theory.
Only runner that I've run for like 3 years, yeah.
Honestly, it was about time you won Nats with it. You've been repping it for so long.
Well, I said on stream that this is a pretty legit deck, and you've used it for something like it for 3 years.
Yeah.
And Chill84, the Netrunner DB and review guy, said 3 years does not mean it's a legit deck.
Fair enough, yeah.
But you took out my sync, you took out Michael's CI7.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote the book on CI7.
I read I hadn't done the matchup, but I'd read his articles. That was the only reason I knew how to play it.
I found him pretty helpful for playing against him too.
Yeah.
It was,
the only article, the part 5 in the series was how to beat it, or part 4 in the series.
It's like, okay, how to beat. Yep.
That's the part now I'm reading really carefully. Sure.
I think your CT is really evolved over the years. I remember in the 2014 regionals, it was still the Opus Vamp Toolbox core.
Sure.
And I remember you were like, it's pretty good. You could generate 9 a turn with a personal workshop.
Yeah.
But now it feels like you've really improved your lock with the clot.
Yep.
Michael and we almost recovered, but the clot lock on top of a Vamp and ANRNZ lock is just really hard to break out of.
Before I was people would get to 6 points before I'm set up, the camera decks and lots of other decks, and I would 50% of the time be able to get them back, and 50% of the time not. But since speeding it up with Nexus, it's meant I can do it a lot more often. That if I can get to the stage where I'm set up and they haven't won yet, then things are going well.
So you've got Opus and Nexus as your console, security Nexus.
Yes, 2 Nexus, Opus.
And Fem as well?
So the Breaker Suite is 1 Fem, 1 Inti, 1 Zoo, and 1 Atman.
Oh, I was going to say.
And then the reason for that is because I was expecting all MBN. So I was expecting just gear checks. So I just needed the cheapest breaker from each type, and they didn't cost influence, so it was an easy breaker suite. And then in all the other matchups, you Nexus to bypass 1 bit of ice to land the Vamp, and then they can't res their 4D promote with none of it res.
Right, so it's not relevant.
Regarding all the NBN, you were 75% right regarding the top 8. So
just not in the Swiss.
It's not in the Swiss. Yeah.
How did the Atman work out for you, Michael?
Against me?
Yeah. That was your 1 breaker, was it?
Oh yes, a maniac. I don't think I used it all day, but it's just...
it's kind of the emergency...
Yeah, it's the emergency answer. I would have used it against David if I'd had the Escher in hand and the money. He just wasn't fast enough to deal with his ridiculous start. But
it's all skill.
Yeah, because you said it was an Eli after the vanilla, so I could have clipped through that. And
I think so. I'm not sure.
Set me up to do the combo.
So you could land an Escher, which would then open R&D back up to your combo.
Yeah. So Escher, DDoS, Atman, click through Eli. It's not great.
That combo really blew me away. I actually picked to use my Corp in the first round just so I could avoid your runner.
There was. I feel there was a lot of that. Okay, what do we pick? Because we know we don't want to play against that. Okay.
Yeah, it was in our game. You only ran once, and it was to keyhole. Well, 1 turn, it was to keyhole most of my deck, or almost the entire thing.
I think I actually needed to keyhole 7 times that game. I was quite lucky with what I had.
That's right. It was 7 keyholes hitting agendas.
But I had 6 more available. So that was good.
So, Winterman, what was your corp? I know what it was, but tell me.
So Big Boy came out with a list,
Yep,
and then it was
he did.
copied by lots of the people going to nationals in the US. Gen Con, not nationals.
Yep.
And
North American champs.
7th or 8th place finisher in that was playing a CTM deck, which I just net decked and practiced with a lot. And then as soon as Timogen was released, I got rid of most of the tag punishment.
Got rid of the tag punishment.
Well, in the sense that list was running 2 closed accounts, for instance,
Right.
and it was running cyclographics, and it was running 2 hard-hitting news. I took lots of those cards out to fit
Just
more.
make it go as fast as possible, presumably.
Go faster, get more gear check ice in there.
So more
slightly,
ice being somewhat key,
Yeah,
right?
so a tiny bit more ice, and then the exchanges of information were the way that you win right at the end. So I added some more exchanges. I think I tested with 3, but went down to 2 when I realized, hey, if I've got no hard-hitting news, like, literally, two of was
So your
good,
version is quite unique. It's actually more of just a rich, strong runner deck that can exchange information randomly, breaking news.
Yep. So the aim is just to gear check them. If they've got to a point, so either they're threatening you all the time, in which case they're too broke to hopefully get all their breakers out, and they haven't been drawing enough to get all their breakers out, or they have just been setting up and you've already won because you just scored out between 2 ice that whole time. Sensei gets you the next agenda each time, and it takes like 5 turns.
And you're gear checking them at the same time as they're trying to find an answer to trashing your assets.
Exactly, and it really helps that all the other decks were running more hard-hitting news type stuff, because they're sitting there playing around those cards at the same time, whereas I'm only using them in the match. I'm very rarely using those cards at all. They're still in there because they need to see them sometimes, right? Otherwise they're not going to play around them. But for most matchups, the runners were very good at playing around those cards, so when I sensei, they just go straight to the bottom.
You were especially good at playing around it. You got really rich with your Andes, and you were never vulnerable, I would say, to hard-hitting news.
I mean, I
think there were a few moments.
There are probably a couple of moments, but like I intentionally played around it as much as possible. Perhaps more than I should have. But I mean, I know the card's a good card.
Yeah,
you do have to. You let some things go, don't you, when you to play around it?
I mean, it was difficult because, like, of course, Sensei's an absurdly good card, and letting that go, it felt terrible. And it's still, I'm sure there'd be some who'd say it was a wrong call, but it's tough. Like if I bank on, there won't be any punishment for this, right? Oh, there is. Oh, okay. Well, I'm probably okay. That's probably it for me. Yeah. So
I completely luck sacked versus you to get both the exchanges and breaking news when I needed them.
It felt bad. It felt bad, man. So in that final game, I actually had the opportunity. When you res the Enigma against me, so I had the opportunity to the next turn install passport, keyhole, and run archives.
That would have just wrecked me.
With my keyhole luck, I wasn't banking on my keyhole luck. It hadn't done me.
You'll
well
be broke at the end of it.
That's,
so I can understand why you want to do it.
Again, okay, hard-hitting news. That's if I don't get agendas, I lose the game.
Sure.
But that was my hope.
You do get one more turn though after the hard-hitting news.
I do, which was potentially going to. Again, it was one of those. Perhaps it was the right call to do it.
The other disincentive for you is we'd played practice games where you had got literally 13 triggers on the thing and only got to 2 points.
In our practice game, one of them I got a really commanding start. The start, as you mentioned, I had more money than you, and I had all my breaker suite up. At which point you don't really have much, as long as I trash the sands.
If you get all the gear checks, there's not much. I can score 2 more points if I top deck the breaking users, but that's about it.
Exactly. And the second game involved a keyhole that whiffed 12 out of 13 times.
But the time it hit.
The time it hit was 3 agendas. And just the rest, they didn't want to come out to play. So,
Michael, do you think your CI7 is like, what was the record on the day, and is it the meta that's got to be right, or?
Yeah, the meta's got to be right. I was actually quite careful. Everyone knows that I know the deck, and I sometimes play it, but I was sending out a lot of vibes that I wasn't going to.
Just coming to regular game nights. Oh, I'm just playing HBETF, guys. You know, don't worry about me.
That only works on a small meta. Yeah. If you're in a big meta, people just either ignore you or don't.
I think the whole time I was smiling a little bit. I'm like, I think this mic is concealing something. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure. ETF's okay. It's pretty good, but
well, it is good. I still do think ETF is the strongest deck besides CTM. I think those are the two strongest decks.
Hard to say. I feel Sync.
Yeah. And then CI, which is why I cut all head.
Were you worried? Sorry.
I was going to say, do you think the hate was like directed at CI, or is it kind of collateral damage on rumor mills and?
Almost all the hate I saw at this tournament was incidental, except maybe Robyn's. But
I mean, Employee Strike's a good card.
Employee Strike's a good card, which I didn't actually see that much. Anyway, Councilman is a good card. Rumor Mill isn't actually that great against CI unless it's combined with Siphon, but that's what DLR does, so it just made that game really hard. And Vap's a good card.
Were you worried about like the amount of people that could have been on DLR after seeing Dan's and the second place performance of DLR?
I might have underestimated how good it was against them. But no, it's actually a very hard deck to play.
I think that's that was part of the thing. I thought it was definitely possible that someone would play it. Well, that actually a couple of people would play it, but to actually play it to the level that it really is worrying. Is they either get really lucky draws or they need to play this. I don't want to say skillfully, as if it doesn't involve skill. But if you get the perfect draws, well, you have all 3-4 guys and wireless and 2 or 3 net. Well, good luck beating that. But it's when they don't have the perfect starts, when they don't have all the pieces, that it's substantially harder to play. And I determined, okay, if I can just play this well enough.
If they lock you out of a single Siphon. You can't get a single Siphon off. It's a really tough game.
Yeah, I found the max deck, the starts are always good, because Inject will get you the mix of 3 that you need. But if the court can land like the Adonis or get rich somehow, most of max depends on making them so poor that they don't have the full array of options. Like they can't defend the remote, or they can't score, or hard hitting use you, or whatever it is. So it's almost the corp start that's more important.
Sure.
Yeah, the ice balance I think is important too. You need to. I mean, Will and I did an intentional draw for that match, but then we did it in testing anyway, and his decks just dominated CI. But that was a very strange game in terms of luck, because there was no agendas in the top 30 or so cards.
Yeah, that's right.
Which included the 10 that he milled. That was lucky for me, but I needed them to rush out and win, I believe, as well. So.
Are there any particular games we wanted to bring up that we thought highlighted something interesting? Something about... Do we have any comments on what we thought the metas are like in New Zealand compared to anywhere else?
What did Blood Money change?
Temujin.
Temujin contract,
all the runners got ridiculously good cards.
Temujin, Paperclip.
Temujin,
crazy
good cards.
But they trended across powered everything. Yeah. But Temujin's definitely.
I think Temujin's criminal. We're back to parity with the others. We can actually do this. We can run with the big boys. So.
That said, there was a lot of Andy at the tournament, and they. Not the same number of them made it into the top 8.
I mean, sure. To an extent, there is. I mean, when we have a small tournament, there's only so much you can draw from that. But
I saw a lot of very rich Andys face planting enigmas.
I think, myself included. Yeah, it's that. So the difficulty with Andy, I feel, is Temujin being out, unless they try to lock you down early, which isn't going to last forever, but eventually you'll be able to get past one of the servers. But if the ice is taxing enough, it's still not necessarily going to be a good deal. Typically, though, Andy, I feel, she can get money.
Yeah.
It's hard to stop her from beating you economically, which is why I feel mid-season decks just don't have the teeth that they used to. I lie. I wasn't actually tempted to play Argus. Fleeting moments. a different part of me
it's kind of
said please, but yeah, I don't think mid-seasons is a viable plan.
It's an interesting economy kind of new meta where Andy has enough money to blank your mid-seasons, but not enough to go trash your pad campaigns. It's like that money is there, but it's kind of finite. Like if she gets too careless,
so that's the thing. It's the okay. I'm not going to trash the pads. I am going to like security test and get money, but I'm getting more money than you. Like you're dripping 2 per turn, and I'm dripping, more than that per turn.
Yeah.
So,
just the install cost on the Breaker Suite for Andy is a lot more than you first think. Like Paperclip, Gordian. That's 9 credits together. The FEM often has to come out to go onto a toll booth. That's another 9 credits. That Timogen, it's a lot. It's 16 credits, but it doesn't go like that far.
So I think one interesting thing is, I know that a number of Andys don't put in same old thing, which I feel even as a backup. Same old thing is just a great card. It's an extra siphon. It's an extra leg work. It's a but often the big one, an extra inside job, but actually a big. Not really considered one is special order, because you just need those breakers. If you need the breaker, you have to special order for it. It's the single most important thing if they're going to score behind an Enigma, because they go, well, this is an agenda. I just install advanced behind it. What are you going to do? So you just special order is super high value.
I think you're right. Andy's going to take some careful tuning, like. For Amber's deck, she had one same old thing, but cut it for the 3rd career fair.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that. I did. I think I did the opposite. Yeah, I got 2 career fairs and a same old thing. Yeah. I wanted to put in 2 same old things.
It's so tempting to cut like the inside job, because it's like,
and it's basically it's actually wrong. I feel because she's got so much money. Her problem is not you don't use the inside job for. Oh, that's a little bit too taxing for me. You use it for. I don't always have the breakers. I don't always have them, and if I don't have them and I don't get an agenda, well, if I had a breaker, I would breeze through. But if I don't have it, I need to get in now.
Sometimes it's not even about money; it's about clicks. Like if you've got a data read, you use inside job, not because it's
I mean, admittedly, the other thing about inside job, it's sync. Like if they put a QBM behind a Raven. Thanks. It's not going to work unless you inside job it. So, I went down to 1 inside job. I think I probably regret it. It's hard to say. 1 inside job, 1 special order.
Something I haven't seen played in a while was when Robyn put a guard on R&D. Did that psych you out from...
No, we would actually talk about it in the past. Part of the reason I was okay installing the FEM was because it was in hand and I do what I can. But 2 was I went... Okay, Mongoose is a lot cheaper, but this is 3 to get through guard, actually. That's bad. That's actually, guard becomes taxing. So I went, no, I just need to get through it. I need to get through it. There's nothing else to say. So,
It's a gear check that gets around inside job. It's just
it gets around inside job and it gets around Nexus. So.
And that was the one I was finding so many games. They'd get
everyone
gets their barrier breaker, like the paperclip. That's the first special order. Even if there's no face up, it's usually special order for that. People quickly realize that they need the Gordian or they need to get their Cogate breaker. But it's so punishing versus the blue decks that they also need to find their sentry. And you can have a relatively cheap server that you're just scoring out of that whole time. That's enough turns to win, honestly.
Yeah.
And no inside job. So good.
Yeah, it's almost like that.
That is pretty helpful.
And then all the green decks are on Nexus, so you get that for free as well. It's sweet.
Does Andy need to go for a faster full rig, for tricks like inside job, or for maybe?
I feel like you've got to do some. Yeah, you have to go accept that actually both draw and set up is what you have to do fast. It's the money's probably you're going to get it. Of course, you might not get as much as you like, but you just need breakers right now.
Yeah.
So some combination of inside job. I think having 0 inside job right now is probably just wrong. I don't think it's right. And then, I mean, theoretically having backup breakers is also helpful. The bad in-faction ones. I mean, I've got a passport in there. I have Gordian, which is just better in so many ways, but if there's an Enigma on a Central, it's not optimal, but it's not what I want to put, but hey, I gotta get through.
How did the passport go today? Was it exploited much?
Actually, in fact, passport is kind of, in some cases, was really helpful because people assumed, oh, you got a passport, you're one of those silly crims that doesn't run a real code gate broker.
So you would lure him out with that.
Yeah, just have a passport out all game with the rest of the rig, and they assume, oh, I'm good. Special order for Gordian. You can just see the mouthing of the expletive happening. It's good. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, should we leave it there?
Yep. Again,
congratulations again, guys.
This guy, fantastic.
Now, Robyn, you'll be taking our trophy back to Australia?
Yep. I might not have room in my luggage, so it might stay with my pants here, but yeah. It'll be put up somewhere. Yeah.
What about Australia nationals?
I won't be going to Australia.
Australian nationals in a week.
Yeah, I would if it was any more than a week apart, but I only get back to Australia on Friday, so I don't want to go straight to Melbourne to have nationals there.
And now you've already kind of spoiled your tech. You know?
Yeah. Oh, everyone knows it now.
Everyone's gonna be talking about chaos theory vamp. Like, what are they gonna do?
It's exactly the same as the Kate vamps, but the Kate Nexus, but it's slower and it doesn't do as good a job. But I'm just so used to the ID. And
having that chaos theory just gives you that confidence. You're like,
I just want to go slightly hipster, and I can't play the main green deck. Yeah.
You did use the MU. I remember turn 2 or something.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah,
it's not
Personal Workshop is the
useless,
main reason to play Chaos Theory above Kate for that deck. Personal Workshop's so good.
Because you get it in your opener. Much more likely.
Well, you get in your opener much more likely, and you can't justify playing Personal Workshop and Cake because it doesn't synergize at all. It's just terrible.
True.
And it's going to rotate out soon. It's going to be so sad. I'll stop playing.
Along with CT.
I'll just stop playing Netrunner. I'm done. No
Personal Workshop.
So play CT Vamp Play Can? Does it have a name?
You got to give it some stupid name.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll put it up. Maybe people can name it themselves.
Comment if you have suggestions.
Yeah.
Something sharp.
Shake his hand.
Awkward, multiple.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Very well.
Hands across New Zealand.
Give you my call.